Hey everyone, I'm Mary Delgado with the Blockchain Herd podcast. Thank you so much for subscribing to my channel. I'm going to ask you to please hit the like button and ask your friends to subscribe too. And today I have a great guest. His name is Ben Fairbank, and he has a lot to share with us today. So I'm going to let him explain to you. And here's Bama. Bama's my little helper. He always helps me out. Nice. But I'm going to let him explain and tell you about what his background is, and also let you know where he's at, the Cogs on Wax, the RedFOX Labs, all that stuff, because he's going to do a better job of it than I am. So welcome, Ben.
Thank you very much. So as you said, I'm Ben Fairbank. I'm the CEO and co-founder of RedFOX Labs. Me personally, my background is I've been a C-level exec since a long time now, since I was 30. Which is a long time ago. My background's been company turnarounds predominantly, with focus on customer experience and trying to work out how to get companies that are either ailing or looking to get to IPO level or sale, how to sort of fix all of the little squeaky bits and make sure that the revenue's flowing in nicely and that the companies are in a good position. So I've always focused on customer experience and trying to work out what it is that makes people come back and keeps people engaged. I did that for telco for a lot of years in 12 different countries, and then went and worked for brands like Virgin, went and worked for Grab, which most people haven't heard of, but I was a C-level there, which is the equivalent to Uber, and now they don't have Uber in Southeast Asia anymore. Grab's the big unicorn company. Got into blockchain, decided that that was the next big thing. Went across and handpicked Komodo and became the GM there for a couple of years to really get my head around what's capable, what the space is doing, and the tech. And then what I realized very quickly was that just like Linux, all these open source platforms don't have proper companies that are being built on top of them that can scale and grow and are easy to use and easy to adopt. So we said Linux needed Red Hat and blockchain needs RedFOX. So what we did was we started up a venture studio, and we decided that what we do is build fast scaling businesses for the emerging markets of Southeast Asia. So we're based here in Vietnam. And as you said, the first major product release that we've done is the NFTs for our upcoming game. And we've released those under the banner of Cogs on Wax. And they are a reimagined version of Pogs from the 90s, otherwise called wafers or tazos or milk caps, depending on where you're born and which country you come from.
Right.
So that's just been released, and that's been surprisingly popular. Now, when I say surprisingly, not for us, we spent 18 months putting the collection together, but a lot of people sort of thought, unless you have IP behind it, Pepsi or Street Fighter or something big, people won't know it, and therefore they won't get engaged. But I think we've shown over the last 3 weeks or 4 weeks that there is still engagement, and there's a lot of trading going on, and people are accumulating their sets for the upcoming releases. So that's about where we are now.
Now you mentioned Southeast Asia. Vietnam is where you're at. Why did you select there? Why are you living, or why are you based there?
Yeah, we're big on data, so we try not to do anything emotionally or anything based on thumbsuck. And we did a lot of research on the fastest growing regions in the world. Southeast Asia, obviously, across the whole board, only has about 40% digital economy adoption, and it's obviously going to boom. And everybody does everything on mobile phones. We've got a lot of experience in the region working for different companies, and we decided that it's harder to set up in Vietnam. It's not as business as friendly for people coming in, like Australians coming in to do a business, but that's also more opportunity for us. So we thought the weather's good, the food's good, the people are great. It's been neck and neck with China's GDP for the last 7 years, so it's extremely fast growing. It's very progressive. Number 3 tech hub in the world. They have 100,000 engineers come through college here a year, and we thought we can't not be there. We can't just do what everybody else is doing, go to Singapore or base ourselves in somewhere that it's a little bit more business friendly. But if we want the opportunity and we want to be the first blockchain venture builder in the region, we need to do it in Vietnam. That's our advantage.
So are there a lot younger folks that are utilizing your project, your technology?
I'm glad you actually clarified the last part of the question. When you said, are there a lot of younger folk? I thought you were going to just leave the sentence there. Yeah, I've been around a bit. The whole target market for us is 25 to 34, but if you look at the region, there's over 100 million people in that age bracket, but the age bracket behind that is around the same number. So you're 18 to 25. So that's our target market. These are the guys that are coming through with new forms of jobs. They're much more digitally aware. They're prepared to do a little bit of extra work to become part of the digital economy, and we build products that are in the 4 fastest growing sectors, which are e-commerce, e-media, e-travel, and ride-hailing and logistics. So people always say, well, hang on, you're building games. Gaming falls under media. And in Southeast Asia, for those who don't know, esports and the whole gaming economy is massive. It's so different to the Western world.
Yeah, I imagine they, they walk around, with their games in hand, and I'm trying to understand the whole. I know the Pogs game, growing up with that. So I'm trying to understand the whole. And I did a piece, also a video on the Cogs, which I found really interesting. And on there, I think I talked about how you would be able to play other games with it and challenge other people. So I was trying to understand that whole concept of how it works and how you came up with that, because I love it. It's great. People like cheating.
Yeah, and I think that I've always worked for disruptive companies, and if you're doing turnarounds, you have to be very basically you're the last line of or last resort. I mean, you're going into a company and they're saying, it's not firing, it's not being it. So if you keep trying to do what everybody else has done better, it's a hard route to follow. But if you get in there and say, let's just radically shake things up and do things differently, it's a lot better. But we've got a really good game designer on our team, and he's come from H1Z1 Battle Royale and PlanetSide 2. So for gamers, they'll know what they are. They're AAA games with millions and millions of players. But we realized very quickly that people spend thousands of hours playing these games, then they get bored of it and want to go somewhere else. And they've spent so much money on swords and backpacks and magic potions and all the rest of it, and it's kind of gone.
Those are called skins, I guess.
Yeah, and they're gone. You lose them. So what we decided was a variation or a reimagined version of the name Pogs is Cogs, and the Cogs actually is an acronym for keys to other games. So these pieces can be transferred and used in other games. So let's start with Pogs, and it's a slammer-based game. For those who have played it, you stack all your Cogs face down, and the other person does the same onto one stack. You get a heavier Cog called a slammer, and you smack the top of it, and whichever flips over face up, you get to keep. It's a pretty simple game.
I love it.
But then if you take that philosophy into, and I'll just use Connect 4 because it's something that everybody knows, and you said you can now take your Cogs across to play Connect 4, and you could take these across and say, oh, cool, I've got a whole ecosystem of games, and I can utilize the same pieces across a number of different games. It gives it value, and it means that what you've paid for your Cog is transferable. And if you get sick of one game, you can go to another. But the key elements are the games we're building are tournament-based games. So these are competitive games with prizes and all the rest of it. So they are more engaging by nature. And the second thing is that we're not limited. We can build any type of game that involves the unlocking mechanisms. So we don't only build them as physical game pieces. They also act as keys, as access. So for example, if you've got an ultra rare set, that might get you into a higher entry level tournament for free because you own the set, and that gives you access to potential prizes. It gives you access to early testing of games so that the general public don't have that access, but people that hold particular sets will be able to come in and play and give us feedback and really feel as though they're part of something. And then it will also allow unlocking of special weapons or levels and access. So it's really supposed to be very all-encompassing, and it's supposed to be something that is value beyond a picture, value beyond just a straight weapon, and value beyond just a collectible set. We thought, let's shake this industry up. And like you say, you were trying to work out how it all fits together. There's not much you can compare this to yet. We're combining a new concept and also combining that with blockchain. It's not something you can readily Google and say, oh, I'll find 10 examples of it and I'll get my head around it. It's like, okay, I don't relate to what you're talking about because I've never seen that before. Well, we haven't either, but we've got a very good idea of exactly how we think it should look.
Well, I love the fact, you know, that you've made it where it's competitive, right? And then also the fact that you can play so many different games with it. It's not just, you know, not just one. So that's pretty interesting to me. And it is a new, you know, these NFTs. I mean, just the way it's going crazy. It's a new project. It's a new concept. So I love the way that you're making it user friendly and just looking ahead.
We always, due to our backgrounds and stuff, we've got a very strict philosophy here, and that is always start with the end in mind. And when we say that, we don't just say it for the sake of saying it. So I say to my guys all the time, imagine where the end is for us. Is that in an IPO room? Who have you got around you? What are you eating? What does it smell like? What does it feel like? And as long as you've got a very clear vision of where you want to go, don't let anybody talk you out of it. Don't let anybody tell you that you can't get there. Don't let anybody tell you that it should be done differently. We've got a plan. How we get there might vary greatly. We might have to pivot a lot, but ultimately let's do something that other people might say it's too hard, or there's a high chance that this is going to be problematic, or it might not be as easy as people think. Then great, less people are going to be doing it, and maybe we can build some roads that other people follow. But ultimately, we're not here just to be a number in a system. We're here to completely disrupt. If we're going to bring new technology into mainstream adoption, we can't force feed that down people's throats. We can't make something like go get a PhD so you can use our product. It's got to be better, faster, stronger, cheaper, something to make people switch from what they're currently using. So the way we figure that the best thing to do is to say, let's give them something that they are using, but it's a radical variation of what they're using that people think, this is cool. I want to give this a play. I want to try it. So we're not interested in doing the same thing that everybody else is doing. And even though we're a venture builder and we copy successful models, we look at enhancing them, because otherwise we can't protect it. We can't build proprietary. We can't sort of do something that, you know, everybody else doesn't come and just copy us after we've copied successful models. So it is a little bit intricate. And when we first sat down with the first couple of VCs and talked about it, they couldn't get their head around it. They were like, I don't understand what you're doing. I don't understand why you're doing it. I don't understand why you would try and do this. There's many easier options. But now that it's starting to come to fruition and we've got a product out and roadmap, now everybody's coming and saying, yeah, this was obvious, it was going to work, and how can we be involved? And it's kind of frustrating, but also very, very humbling as well.
Yeah, you were saying the disruption, the adoption, you know, you have to get out there, you have to think ahead. You know, think outside of the box. And then it is pretty interesting because, I mean, I was one of those people where I didn't understand. And I'd be lying to you if I told you that I understood it completely now. But I'm learning. And as I'm learning, I really am seeing the bigger picture on the potential of all of this. And it's evident on what you have created with the Cogs on Wax. I mean, it's really interesting what you've done for everyone.
Yeah, we thought about it for a long, long time, and we didn't sort of think, okay, NFTs are going to be big, so let's like work out a way that we can be part of this action. This is something that we sat down and when we started, I had an afro, I had a full head of hair, and the frustrations have. I've worked for these big companies that have they're very process driven, and they're very strict in the way in compliance and regulation and all the rest of it. And this is the Wild West. So when people came to me and said, okay, when you're designing collectible sets, don't go out and force feed to people that you must collect this one and this one's worth more than this one. If we've got all these border sets and designs and all the rest of it, let people turn around and say, I like the pink border, or I like the red and black combination, and therefore that's the most demanded and it becomes the most popular. And I said, you can't really go out to the public and sort of say, you know, we've got a structure and we've got all these intricacies and we've got all these designs, but yet don't give them a very clear map of exactly how the sets work and the structure works and it sets together. And I was convinced, you know, by people that are much smarter than me in these areas that it is the right way to go. We're doing something a little bit different, but we're taking tried and true pieces and piecing them together. We're piecemealing it together. But look, I think it's we've probably got the best community it's small, but it's the best community I've ever dealt with. These guys are like giving away stuff to each other, giving away prizes to each other. They're sharing, they're swapping. This is very uncrypto. Crypto is all about like Moon, Lambo, give me all the money I can get. And these guys, we're building something that we're actually really proud of, and we collect ourselves every single night. We try and collect our own sets.
So speaking of collecting, I'm going to tell you a funny little story. So when you had your release of the Cogs, so I think that which was very unique to what you did, because you and I don't think anybody's done it after you, where you created just a 3-hour window. I think that's what it was, right? Which was very, very unique, because everyone they do it. They have so many out there, and then whales start coming in, which I know that term now, what a whale is. But whales start coming and buying them all up. But you had a window, and then the secondary market, the value increased, which was like mind blowing that happened. Because you really, I think a lot of people thought because you had it as a window that the value wouldn't be there, but it was just the opposite, which is, I mean, that's congratulations. That's amazing. But I think I think you shut it down for a bit or something because there was a problem. I'm not sure, but I thought that the buying was shut down. So I missed the 3-hour window. Nothing.
No. Yeah. What happened was we had a pack opening issue in the code, and we didn't want to unlock the pack opening if there was the potential for people to open. Some work, some didn't work, and therefore, because it's mint on demand, some people would say, oh, I missed out on getting the mints that I wanted. So we said we'd rather sacrifice some of the sale volume that we would get so that we can make sure that the packs open properly when it works. So, but yeah, going back to your previous point, we were told straight out, like, you can't do a timed window, it won't work. People won't buy it. There'll be no secondary market demand or value. But what we did was we looked at numbers, stats, and we looked at the way people have done stuff in the past, and we turned around and said, well, why can't you do that? And just because it hasn't been done that way before, and our game designer said, look, people are putting 100,000 tokens or NFTs on the market, and they're sold in 5 minutes. And people are going, I couldn't get my credit card to work and I couldn't get through. We listened to that and we said, that's not fair. And our game designer turned around and said, you can't open Disneyland for 9 minutes. You don't just open the gates and say,
a lot of angry children.
Yeah, and then you get people that are reluctant to buy on the second market because they said, I was denied the chance to buy on the primary market. So we turned around and said, stuff it, let's make it so that everybody can get on the primary market. And anyone who didn't, it was by choice. So therefore, we believe that there's enough variety in the set, and there's enough variety. And they said, within 2 weeks, no one will be interested anymore. It won't work. The value won't go up. The packs were $20 in the sale, and they're up to $84 or something now. Wow. They're climbing, and they didn't peak and then drop off. And our volumes of trading every day are consistent, and they dipped a little bit and then they've gone straight back up, and they actually broke previous records. So
that tells me, got everybody listening out there, get your packs now.
Well, we buy from the market ourselves. If we want to open packs, we sell and trade and we buy packs, and we're big pack buyers. And we're not big sellers. So I think the advice that I have is, don't think that just because we buy something, it means that that's the ones you need to get because they're useful in the games coming up. We buy them because we think that they've got speculative value or they look good. But ultimately, yeah, I think that the one lesson here is that don't try and just copy the way that everybody else does it, because if you copy someone else who's very successful, you have to do something so much better than them to be more successful. You're generally going to get a fraction of the success that they got. So you have to radically shake things up if you want to be different and you want you want to challenge the system, and hopefully other projects come along after us and choose to just do this window as well, like we did. But it was a massive risk, and we thought it was a calculated one.
Yeah, and that goes back to you always thinking of your community, right? So, you know, it's great that you did it because you had your community in mind. So, you know, you were talking about, you know, what you do versus what somebody else does. I know that the series 1, I think you're going to come up with a series 2. Is that right? So I'm not sure if the series 1 was more for like collectors. Is the series 2 going to be, oh, okay. So then the series 2 is going to be more for the people that want to get into that competitive kind of gaming. Is that right?
Yeah, so series 1, we modeled it similarly to Magic the Gathering in the sense that their first set was a collector set, and they're the rare ones. They're much more expensive. I'm not talking about promising future growth in value and stuff like that. It's not a security or anything like that. What we did was we said it's limited in its supply. So how it happens with series 2, because there's a game attached, then we start going out through the big influencers, through our designers circles and stuff. And when we bring players in, they're going to come in and say, how do I buy Cogs and how do I play? Now, if we turn around and say, you can't get them, it was just a really limited release, and now they're like stupidly expensive. I mean, foil slammers are now going for Satoshis, and 8 balls are going for $1,000. So, I mean, people are going to turn around and say, I'm not going to pay those ridiculous fees and blah, blah, blah. But what will happen is for series 2 and on, it will be much cheaper per pack, much lower chance of getting the really rare Cogs, and they're based on a run. So what that basically means is it opens until the next game gets released. So you'll have 3 months to buy those packs. You'll go into the marketplace and you'll be able to buy unlimited. They're readily available, much cheaper. Less people will be buying Cogs for speculative value. More people will be buying Cogs because they can play with them. And no one who has edition 1 is going to want to risk those, because the value obviously will, as attention comes in, should by rights be very, very good. So people are going to say, I don't want to part with my edition 1. So then buy edition 2. They're cheaper, much more readily available, and the at-risk component becomes far less of an issue.
In the series 2, is that going to be that 3-hour window as well, or are you going to make
no, it's going to be for 3 months, right up until the release of the next game. Yeah.
Oh, then I'll have plenty of time to buy there.
Plenty. But like I say, you might have a 1 in a million chance of getting a foil Satoshi, and it's going to be much harder to get the really rare ones. And so we're going to communicate that very clearly. Common Cogs for edition 2 will be effectively worthless. They're not supposed to be worth something. It won't be until you get to your ultra rares and your ultra rare foils that they actually have some sort of value, and they're going to be much harder to get. So the first set is specifically for collectors and the traders. So anyone who's collecting a set right now, like a super set of ultra rares or whatever, this is going to be, it's almost impossible now because people are saying, I'm not selling. If you've been lucky enough to get your hands on one, you'll get benefits and features in the future. And one hint I can give you as a bit of a drop here is we've announced that we will introduce an economy. And what that basically means is that the people that hold Cogs and the RedFOX supporters will be rewarded for being part of all of this, which is something that we will be announcing in the next week or 2.
Oh, wait a minute. So is this like breaking news where you heard it here on the Blockchain Herd?
Yeah, it sort of is. It sort of is. We've hinted about it and we've dropped breadcrumbs, but we have to be very careful because everything has to be legally vetted and all the rest of it. But it is going ahead. And what it will basically mean is that all of the people that sort of have followed the space and sort of seen what we're doing, there's been a few bright people out there that have pieced this all together, and we'd love to be able to go out and say, you're right. And that's exactly what we're doing. But we have to sort of sit there and go, that's a good idea.
You have to be like, oh, what are you talking about? What?
Yeah. So what it means is that we get to really go down that pathway of what people are guessing, and that is of the being able to stake your sets. We've mentioned that. So for example, if I've got an ultra rare set and it allows me tournament entries into $100 tournaments, people can either pay to go into the tournament or they can use their set. Now, some people might say, I don't want to use my set. So you can put your set up on the market and someone can say, I'll pay you $80 to use your set. So you're not actually taking receipt of it, but you've got an opportunity to be able to generate revenues from what you're holding. But that's the very, very tip of the iceberg and the only bit that I'm really allowed to say at this point. But it's very, very exciting, and we think that it will be extremely well received as well. But this just shows you that these aren't things you sort of click your fingers and just say, hey, we've got an idea. These are things that have taken 18 months to develop and come up with.
Super excited. Like, it makes me think of, you know, down the way in the future is having like an actual tournament that people could tune into, like a football game or a baseball game, and just see everybody competing against each other. Some sort of like, I don't know.
We've communicated that since day one. So over in this part of the world, more people actually watch than they do play. So you'll be able to watch finals of tournaments through like an esports thing. And we've talked about we've even gone into the depths of saying we need a male and a female who are sort of like your VJs that come in and but what we want to do is we want to make it localized and say you can win a contract to be the VJ for that particular game or whatever, and give them a contract that's worth money, and then that brings exposure to the project. So we've got lots of cool ideas, but for us, it's a matter of, again, we started with the end in mind. We know exactly where we want to be and what it looks like. Now we have to make sure that our castle's not built on sand. We have to make sure that we roll this out properly. We were very careful with the artwork. We were very careful with the set, and anyone who goes in and has a look, we haven't put flashy fires behind it or smoke, or we haven't made it do cartwheels. It's just good art. It's plain good art. And we thought, let's just let the product speak for itself. And that's
whoever you have on board with creative. I mean, the product that you're putting out is just spectacular.
Thank you. That means a lot to us.
The graphics, everything that you're doing. I mean, just again, the graphics with who you have, keeping your community in mind, just everything that you're doing is such a great flow.
Thank you. And we've if you haven't noticed, we also got a little bit of speculative criticism in the beginning, saying you should be out there on the rooftop saying we've got this amazing product, and you should be in every on every website, and you should be making all this hoo-ha about. And we said, no, we'd rather build slowly, make sure that we bring the right people in, people that are really interested, your sneezers, your first wave of people that find stuff out. And what we want to do is we want to make sure that they're handsomely rewarded for having come in and found this community. And what we want to do is also make sure that we use this as a testing ground, because before we go to mass market and bring in gamers and all the rest of it, we want to make sure that we've got a product that's going to stand up, and it's not something that hasn't had a tested product market fit first.
Sure, absolutely. Now, someone asked me to ask this question because I put a tweet out there that I was going to be talking to you, and they said something about some hidden Easter egg. What's that all about?
Oh yeah. So we've actually got Easter eggs hidden in the Cogs. So for example, I can give you hints and stuff. We basically, inside of the Cogs, you can actually, there's clues, and those clues lead to, and I can say this because the first one's already started. The first one had to be decoded, and it was a picture, and the picture led to an email address. And if you emailed the address, you got instructions for what you had to do next, but it's like a riddle. So it's multiple steps that you go through. And then what happens is that unlocks a Bitcoin wallet with money in it. And there's different variations of these Easter eggs. So some of them are like complete the word. So you have to look at a particular cog, it'll give you a word. You'll type in a word, and if it works, it lets you through to the next one and tells you which next cog to go to. And people have sort of discovered certain things. They've sort of said, I notice in the background the moon's missing, or it doesn't have this, or it doesn't have that. So they're already starting to clue together what will come out. But we also really thought about the fact that while the game's waiting to hit the market at Christmas, we want to keep people engaged and entertained. But we also don't want to just make it so easy that everything's done in a week. We want this to be that people are still discovering things in the first set 2 years down the track. So there's lots of hidden...
It's an Easter egg hunt, if you will.
Treasure hunt.
So, yeah,
there's
like treasure hunt.
Hunts.
Yeah, that's neat. I really like that, because you're always finding little clues. So it makes you look at it a lot closer.
Exactly. And some of them, like the first one you're going to see over the next couple of weeks, is quite complicated, and it leads to other cogs, and they're specifically, I can't say but they're specifically based on, yeah, like an action that is required of you.
Sorry about that.
That's okay. So it's, yeah, so it's specifically based on an action that's required of you. So for example, it might give you a clue, and then you have to do something at a certain time and a certain day and a certain way to be able to unlock the second clue and then the third clue. So these are supposed to be, and what's a real credit to the community is one of the people worked out what the first part of it was, and instead of saying, yoo-hoo, I'm through, they actually went into the group, they created an Easter egg section on the Discord channel, and they share and they're helping each other. It's a really collaborative community, and they're getting just as much enjoyment out of it as we are. And we're just really happy that we can have multiple levels of delivery, and it's not just a piece of art, and it's not just a game, it's multiple games, and it's games within the games. And the trading itself is a game, because you have to collect the different sets and the different varieties, and it's kind of, it's a long, tiring process of planning and all the rest of it, but worth every second of it.
It's fun all the way around, any way you look at it, whether you're a collector, whether you're a gamer, whatever you are, you
Yeah.
just, you know, you have something for everyone, you know, all wrapped up into this, you know, Cogs on Wax. So that's a lot of fun. Now,
Yeah,
where do you see it going? Like from here, like you gave me a big, you know, storyboard of what you thought. Was there any additional pieces where you think that this could go to, or does it have any more arms, tentacles?
Yep. So definitely, I can give you another big clue that hasn't really been discussed yet. Is that
more? You heard it here on the blockchain herd.
Yes, it'll definitely be one of the first real major use cases of the combination of gaming and DeFi. So yeah, I can't say too much about that yet, but
oh, come on, yeah, you can.
Okay, so okay, for example, all right, I'll give you a nugget. For example, things like we do have staking. We've talked about staking and mining for a long time in the NFTs, but that could potentially go into a liquidity pool that other people could then borrow from to purchase cogs or items or all the rest of it. So there's multiple facets and levels that will be introduced over time as the demand unravels and folds. But as far as where it can all go, the games themselves, we've sort of, it went further than we thought it would. We've got a partnership with a major platform that's got 1 million monthly average users, but it's traditional mobile space for Southeast Asia and South America. So what we've said is, let's build games that we can use for tournaments there. Now, they're not crypto or blockchain. So what that means is, if you win a prize and it's like a cog, for example, or a pack of cogs, you'd come across and you'd set up your Wax wallet and you'd collect your prize. So we're bringing in traditional gamers into the NFT space. So this is a major win to be able to partner with these types of people. And then how that flows is that other games that exist in the market that haven't worked out how to get revenue models to work have come and said to us, hey, can we work with you, and can we incorporate Cogs somehow? Because that helps us to keep the game alive, and we've got lots of users and we just don't know how to monetize it. So by virtue, we've had the opportunity presented to us for games and IP that are struggling, that have said, can we join forces? And that would give us instant, much wider audiences.
Oh, yeah, sure, man. Congratulations. That's amazing. Yeah, that's going to grow it even further, like you were saying, with major, you know, additional audience. So
yeah, I think our major dilemma at the moment is we sort of put the feelers out to see if there'd be interest in the beginning, see if we can get like a traction and funding, and we can really sort of grow it really fast. And then people were sort of like, I don't know how it would work, and I'd have to see it. And now that Cogs have come out, we've got those people coming back and saying, now we're interested. And we're saying, I wonder if we can do it without this, and we can grow this organically, and we can get this to really sort of go in the right direction, and then we can keep creative control, and we can make sure that we do it the way that we want to do it, and it's customer based and not 10x quick flip type of based. We are allergic to that, and we don't want to ruin the experience because there was $1 on the table. We want to we'd rather take 6 months longer and do it ourselves and do it the right way. So we're resisting lucrative or big cash offers, because we've got good partnerships in place and we've got good connections that we can utilize to make this a success without having to sell out.
Now, if you had to pick one of your favorites, and I know that's hard, what would you say would be your favorite?
Favorite cog?
Yes.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, but the problem is that, and I want to put the caveat out there that this is not linked to any unlock, and it's not an endorsement to go and buy this particular one, because I've said this twice now. Now I can't afford my favorite cogs, so lucky I started collecting them early. I love the Time Traveler. It's my most obsessive subject on earth. So I insisted.
I think I might pick that one too. Time travel.
It's beautiful. Yeah, it's a beautiful cog as well. It's very Back to the Future-ish, and I'm trying to collect them in foils and in planes. I like the moon because it's kind of ugly and creepy, but it's kind of mystic, and the foil over it looks amazing. And the Bitcoins, I love the actual Bitcoin ones, because I think if the crypto space really picks this up over the next couple of years and Bitcoin keeps doing what we think it's going to be doing, people are going to say, not only is it kind of nostalgic from the POGs perspective, but it's also Bitcoin. And these were one of the first NFTs, and it was part of the first series. I think this one could have big value, but everyone else thinks that as well. I mean, you can't buy one now for under $90 for one Bitcoin cog. You can't get them under there. So I started collecting them when they were like 15 and 20, and now they're just ridiculous.
Exploded. Well,
$90 a cog.
I need to get myself some, that's for sure. Well, I have some, but not as many as what I wanted to get.
I think even us, we sort of say we want to crack some packs today, and we've never really been collectors ourselves. And now we're kind of giddy about collecting our own sets, and we've got a rule that we have to buy from the market. So we just go on and see what the lowest price pack is, and we every night we sit there and we any profits that we make, we try to pump them back in and try and buy some packs for ourselves and collect ourselves. And we do giveaways on our Discord channel every night, and crack packs with the community and listen to their feedback. And every night we devote an hour to talking to our loyal community, and it's been amazing because it's been a journey that we've all gone on together. And there's many first-time collectors, and there's also many first-time blockchain people. And we, to be honest, and I know it comes across in the way I speak about it, but we're actually really proud of what we've put out, and we're actually really proud to say that we did it. And sometimes when we're collecting, we forget that it's ours. We just kind of think, I've got to get that cog, and I've got to make sure that set's complete. And you kind of say, hey, we built this. This is kind of cool.
And I'm here. I'm trying to play the game. I'm trying to do the whole thing. So because it's exciting. That's where I'm at with with my channel here. It's like going on this journey and learning all these things. And I can't believe some of these terms that I know that I wouldn't have known 3 months from today. NFTs and DeFi and
For sure.
all of these different things. But it's super exciting. I know where you're coming from and your excitement. I'm excited about it when I did the video on it, and I want to do an opening as well. I want to do a video on that as well.
Sure. I'll send you some packs to do that.
Yeah, I would love to do that. So is there anything that, if you want to ask yourself a question, I think it's important for you to ask yourself a question.
I think the question that I'd ask myself is that, it's important to keep that end in mind. It's important to know exactly where you're going, but it's also very important, and this is something for you as well, to when you're building your user base and your customer base and your audience, is to really sort of make sure you're listening to the right voices and focus on the right things, because there's a lot of people out there that just want to do a 10x. They'll get very angry at you if it doesn't happen immediately. But there's also a lot of good people out there that understand that you have to build something that sustainably grows and all the rest of it. So the question that I would ask myself is every day, and I've got it written up on our windows in the room, what good have I done today? I need to be able to ask that question and answer that question myself. So whether that's putting through a trade request that someone's offered me a ridiculous trade for one of my cogs, and I say yes to them because it's a good deed and it helps someone finish a set or whatever, or whether it's that you take the time to help somebody or do something. I think the question for myself is, am I doing enough to give back what I'm getting from other people. I'm not talking about monetary. I'm talking about, because we're still in the early days and profits are small and all the rest of it. I'm talking about, am I giving back enough for what I'm getting? And that's to my team and to the public as well. And if the answer to that is no, I have to ask why, because I get just as much out of this as anybody that's collecting or playing or doing it. And from my staff and seeing the people, how happy they are with what they've built and helping them to acknowledge that. So I think the question I'd ask myself is, what good have I done today?
It can't just be about money. Absolutely, 100%.
No.
Out of passion, out of heart, and you know, what are you doing? Because if you make it just about money, you will not be successful. You just won't.
No. I think the thing is, if you follow a good path, and you know, in crypto, you're going to learn this yourself as your channel grows. And I did this as myself, and as my channel grew, everybody comes to you and says, shill my product. And I can safely, honestly turn around and say, I never took a cent to promote anything. And the thing is that that's a choice that you make, right? You can't change that pathway as you're going down the track. But what's really important to know is that that's a decision that you have to make, and it's a way you operate. But you've got to have a purpose. You've got, what are you here for? Are you here to educate people? Are you here to make a lot of money? They're all, no path is less virtuous than the next. It's just a matter of choosing a path and sticking to it. I think it's just really important that you understand your audience, and you understand the one question that we should always ask anybody we're talking to or with, and that is, what's in it for me? So the person that you're talking to, so what is in it for you to talk to me today? Is it about learning? Is it about exposure? Is it about, so the thing is that I have to understand what you're trying to get out of the interaction, just as I have to understand my audience's, what they're in it for as well.
So what I got out of it today was learning. Absolutely. I mean, I'm not getting paid, that's for sure. But other than you did say you were going to send me a Cogs so I could open it up. So I guess that's kind of a form of payment, if you will. I don't know.
But if you do something that you're passionate about and you do it well, money will come. But
right.
the hardest part is to resist the temptation of why don't I just go and do a Tron and just spin up a white paper, and hopefully I can make a ton of money and just get that FOMO going. I think the most important thing is to resist that urge and say, let's build something quality, let's build something sustainable, and avoid the noise around us, and the good things will come. The good things will come to those who do the right thing.
100%, 100%. So, so Ben, why don't you tell my listeners where to find Cogs on Wax, where to find you, you know, in the community?
Yep. So we've got a Cogs on Wax Twitter channel. That's an official channel, and we've also got a Discord channel. I can provide you with those links. There is going to be a brand launch for RedFOX Games, which is the gaming division, because as a venture builder, we release companies. So RedFOX Games will have an official website, logo, brand release at the end of this month, and that'll coincide with the big announcements we've got. And so at the moment, Twitter and Discord is the best, and we also do have an email subscription service, and we do update people weekly. And for those who follow RedFOX, we even through all the bear market and that, we do 3 blogs a week and a newsletter and all the rest of it. So they're the 2 best places to follow us. But once the brand release happens, it'll be much more sort of slicker and better channels and all the rest of it. But at this stage, it's for the early adopters, for people that have come in that are genuinely interested in the space and what we're doing. And it's much more intimate. That intimacy we'll try and hold on to for as long as we can. But as we grow, it'll be harder and harder to keep that really individualized attention.
Personalized attention, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And everything that you just said to me, I'm going to have the links in the description below, so you can, you know, for ease of clicking through and all that. But I want to tell you, thank you so much for talking to me today. I've learned a lot. You gave the listeners some breaking news, if you will, and I really appreciate that. And I'm super excited for what you're doing, super excited for what you're doing to the community, working with them. And I wish you all the luck. If there's anything that I can do further to help you along, please let me know.
and vice versa. I think that what you're doing is great, and it's noble, and it's good, and it's I think just if we can help you out as well, or send people your way to talk to, I think that's really good. So people should hit like and subscribe and support you, because one thing that's really hard in this space is to get quality. So as long as you produce quality content and you're helping to educate people on this journey and helping people, you'll do very well. You won't get the 300,000 people like the paid followers that are all fake and all the rest of it, but don't sell out. Just do the right thing and talk straight. Even if you know that lots of stuff's dodgy, just tell it how it is and people will respect that.
100%. Just have a conversation with someone, right? That's what you need to do. Have a conversation and don't pretend to know it all, because I certainly don't. I'm learning as I go through.
We're all learning. No one knows where this.
Ask any silly questions. I'm sorry for that, but that's just me, the newbie, learning all this stuff. So
no, you're doing a good job. You're doing a good job, and it's good to see people come in and have this much passion. So thank you.
This is my buddy, and we want to say thank you to you so much. We really appreciate it. He's always by my side at my feet, just hanging out with me during the taping here. So thank you.
So just do us a favor. Do us a favor. When we send you the Cogs packs and you open them, I don't know if you're going to do it live or whatever. Just make sure that you either come into our channel and show us some of the rare ones that you got, or keep your guys posted on, like, we've made everyone in our company choose a set that they're trying to collect, and we're all madly trying to collect our sets. So let us know what you're trying to collect, because if we've got something that you don't have, we can do a trade or something to help you complete your sets.
100%. I will do that. So as always, I want to thank everyone so much for subscribing to my channel. Bama and I appreciate you guys tuning in. Don't forget to hit the like button. All the links that I talked about are going to be found below. And thank you, Mr. Ben Fairbanks. Really appreciate it. You guys have a good day. And don't forget, you heard it here on the Blockchain Herd.